smoke, and that was soot. And I'd make a paper cylinder, put a book on top of it, and catch all that soot, and then put it in a bottle and put a couple little pebbles from out off the yard in there, and some sterile eye wash, and I'd beat it up for days and make that ink. Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Rabbit trail, okay.
Yeah. Let's don't do that. All right, so anyway, good dark ink, right?
That was while you were in prison.
Yes.
So you did tattoo other guys.
Yes. And we would change. I'd do work for him, he'd do work on me. Or if you owed me, you could pay me with a tattoo. Somebody like this one was a paid debt. I don't like the Crypt Keeper, but if that guy didn't pay me, I had to stomp him or stab him. Okay, so where was I?
Tattoos, inks.
Oh yeah. And so I gave away all my patterns and all my ink. All I had was the motor that come out of a little remote control car. And you can put it on an ink pen and use a guitar string for a needle and make a little thing so it'd go. And that's all I had left. And I wanted to sell that so I'd have a little money. Nobody was buying it, but this one guy kept handing me, he was the dope man. And he said, Freon, I got the dope. I said, man, you know I don't do dope. He said, but Freon, I want that motor and I got the dope. Like, you know you can get it and sell it. You ain't selling the motor, but you can sell this dope. And it was very tempting. But I was firm in my belief. God said, I'll supply all you need. I said, you know what? Give me the dope. Here's your motor. He put the dope in my hand. I went right to the toilet and flushed. He's like, no. I said, that's mine and that's yours. And from that point on, my account never got below $100. And I don't know where the money come from, but somebody would put money in my account. And I'd always have money. But that's how God provides sometimes, right? Just like that razor. All right, so.
Speak to me, everyone.
All right, so that goes on and on and on. And I really thought that I'd never get out of prison. And I've done 14 years and right at it. And it just became time after a while. There wasn't days and weeks and months. I knew it was Friday because we got free bobos and clean linen on Friday. I knew it was Sunday because we always had church on Sunday. And I could keep up with that. The rest of the time I'd get kind of lost in what day it was.
You do well to bring the.
This guy came in one time and he wanted me to teach him a song. So I was teaching him 10,000 years.
Turn it over 2 or 3 times.
And we'd walk the ball field and sing it over and over. And one day he said, man, let's go to the chaplain and see if he'll let us do it in the service, right? And I'm like, dude, I really don't want to do that. Now, Freon, come on, man, do that. And he kept on and on and on. I said, all right, we'll go ask him. I figured he'd say no, you know. So we go and he said, sure. Oh my goodness, here we go. So we get up there and we sing this song. And everybody applauds when we're done. I'm like, what's that about? And so a couple guys come up to us and said, man, we like that, what you did. Can we sing with you? And so we went to the chaplain and he said, sure. Now we're getting this choir going. And 2 more join us, and 2 more join us. And pretty soon, you know, we got like 15 people. And we got this one guy that's real talented, man. And the guards brought him some plywood in the workshop. And he cut out and glued and shaped and router, did all this stuff and made a bass guitar. And he painted it. And they brought him all the hardware and he put it together and it worked. So now we got a choir with a bass guitar, doing our rhythms for us, you know. That choir is still there today. We started that. It's still worship and a sermon on the yard. We did that every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. And we always did it where everybody could hear us, so they wouldn't think that there was no possibility for them to say we were plotting something or doing something that wasn't right. You know what I mean? We were just being about loving our Jesus. And we were taking that kind of stand all the time. In fact, I got these little metal shavings. I passed them around in the church there at Sturgis. And the Muslims, when they would get on their rugs to do their prayer, I'd start singing to Jesus. They hated me. So they put them metal shavings in my bed so my back would bleed. If the guards saw blood, they'd move you. And that's why they do it, to get me away from the Muslims, you know. I wasn't scared of them, you know what I mean? And I told the guards, you ain't got to move me. I don't want to move. How about that? And then they put garbage bags full of water in my bed and poke it with a pencil so it would leak out slow and soak the mattress real good. Then I'd have to move. So that's the kind of things I went through being a Christian in prison. And God always made a way, always made a way. One time this 21-year-old boy, he punched me. Now, I gotta stab him. I got to. Or they would start trying to make me a punk, if you know what that means. And they would start trying to screw me and stuff, right? I wasn't having it. So I'm gonna stab him. But he's got some friends, and I got Christian friends, and they all come to this meeting that we're getting ready to fight right there. And they're holding both of us back and saying, don't do that, man. You know, y'all can work this out. And I said, man, you know what the laws are in here. You know? Freon, no, don't do it. You don't have to. Right? And the boy started crying, and he come and hugged me. I can't stab him. So God made a way. See? And everybody understood. We never got any slack about that. It was interesting how God would intervene in things, and God would make a way about things, just like I'll supply all you need according to your riches and glory. All through prison, God gave me favor. Just like who was in prison so long and got favor? Was it Paul or no? Was it Joseph? That's it. You know, God gave him favor in prison. And boy, God gave me a lot of favor in prison. Now, I'll share another little story with you. I like to share the little story sometimes because it gives God so much glory. But this one's a little funny. And okay, so when I was on lockup, when I'd have to take a shower, the showers were separate from our cell. We didn't have a shower in the cell. And if I didn't wreck, they would just come and handcuff me and take me out of my cell, walk me to the shower. I'd get in and put my hands out, and they'd unhandcuff me. And the shower doors were these grids that you could see through, right? And the shower heads were always pretty low in there. So you never saw me in there without headgear. So I got my cap off. It's on the little towel rack here thing. And I'm kneeled down washing my hair. And I'm facing the door butt naked. Now, I want you to get the picture here, right? So it might be a picture y'all don't want to not unsee or whatever. Right, so I'm washing my hair, and I hear this woman talking to me.
Oh, what?
And I look up, and it's a woman guard, and I go, ah! And she's like, Mr. Lang, what's the matter with you? And I said, ma'am, it is not proper to see a man without his hat on. I love it.
Oh, man.
And I tell you that story so I could share this experience. I would take file folders, I'm gonna nail a file folder and cut it down and make 2 5x7 cards, greeting cards, if you will. I love you, Christmas card, whatever. I'd draw, a picture to go with her. I'd put their names on it, and I could get pastels so I could add color. I could get glue doing glitter, and I could write stuff and then put glitter in it and make a pretty good hustle. Well, when I was on lockup, I didn't have a hustle, right? You got what you got at mealtime, and that was it. I didn't have any money, so I didn't have no canteen run, none of that stuff. Well, that guard was so touched by what I did that when I woke up, there were 100 file folders from the door to my bed that had been thrown under the door because they knew that was my hustle. So, and I always had a razor blade, so I started cutting them down, and then some paper came, and then markers came, and I just started making cards. Well, I had over 200 made by the time I come off, so I could go out in population, and I would sell them for stamps. So I would take a card and put a false back in it so I could hide all my stamps behind it. And I just put it in the pile, and they'd look through a few, and then they just throw them down. They'd never really tear them apart or anything and find, because I had a pretty good attitude, so they didn't mess with me hard. Now sometimes they'd have to take my stuff, but most of the time they didn't. So I could make a pretty good hustle. But now, when they changed me into this new camp and I came in with all them cards, they're like, well, you better be careful with them, because they knew if I sold them all at one time, this was a cash camp. You could have cash. And I went to the ball field, I sold all my cards, so I got a knot in my pocket that I'm going to get in trouble for, man. So I got to go in and start writing letters and putting a little bit of money in each one to send it home. They can send it to my account. And then we got a hustle going. All right, so, or I could buy stuff from guys that had money with stamps. Stamps was gold in there. Stamps was money. So I could get like
postage stamps?
Yeah, postage stamps.
So that they can mail letters to their family?
Yeah. And one time I worked in a metal plant, and we would make things like stainless steel cookware and stuff for kitchens, but we'd make stuff for truckers, and we had those red and white reflectors that are on the semis. You see they're all lined with red and white. I would send one of them out every day in a letter. I probably had 200 of them when I got out, you know. These guys, I'd send them to somebody and they'd keep my mail for me. So when I got out, I'd go by and get all that. I still have some today. I cut them out in different shapes and put them on saddlebags and stuff like that. And it was interesting how God always make a way for things. So, but that guy that I taught that song to, he came back after a few years and he said, put me on your visiting list. I went, okay. So he came to see me and he brought his girlfriend. And I'm like, just to mess with him, I'm like, so what's up with the chick? You said you'd never do that to me. Make him her think we were gay, right? And he's like, and then I bust out laughing. And she knew right away it was a joke. So anyway, we had a pretty good visit, and time went on. They would come, you know, once a month and nothing else. And one day she brought me some pictures, and I was like, what's this about a bathroom? And she said, that's your bathroom. I said, what's that mean? She said, you're going to come and stay with us, and we'll not take no for an answer. When you get out, we want you to come and stay with us. And they wrote the parole board. I got 10 letters that say the same thing. Due to the nature of your crime, will not give you parole at this time. So when I get them letters, after about 5 of them, I just say,